Hi guys, and welcome to Escape Wheel Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're looking at the San Martin SN021g-B3, which is their latest version of their SN021g line. This is version 4. So version 1 was a printed dial and a flat crystal. Version 2 is the one that I have reviewed a while back. I'll leave the link for that up here. Version 3 looks very similar to this version here, but it has an applied logo and silver accents on the dial. And then this final version 4 here that we're looking at, they slimmed down the lugs to 19 millimeters and did a printed dial as well as gilt accents on the green and black model, and then charcoal accents on the Tiffany blue. So I was given a pretty good discount on this watch from the San Martin official store on AliExpress. That's why you'll see the includes pay promotion up here. But that's not going to change my review one way or another. You're going to get the good, you're going to get the bad. It's mostly good though, I'll tell you that right now. So the retail price of the watch is $307, according to AliExpress at the time of this. But it looks like they're going to go down to about $290 during an upcoming sale. This version 4, like I mentioned earlier, it's offered in 3 different colors. You have this green and gilt, you have a black and gilt, and then you have a Tiffany blue and charcoal accents. And I think they all look really, really good actually. So what does your money get you? It gets you a full 3/16L stainless steel case, crown, screw down case back, 100 meters of water resistance, a beautiful sapphire crystal, which we'll talk about, really good lume, a PT5000 movement and back. You can also upgrade to the Sellita SW200 if you want. You get a really nice San Martin bracelet and clasp. And yeah, I think overall it's a pretty good package. You know, 300 plus is a lot of money for an AliExpress watch, but you know, I keep saying it's worth it. I've handled other entry-level Swiss watches, and this is just as nice, if not nicer, than something from Hamilton or Tissot or Raymond Wheel even. So yeah, I think you're getting a lot for your money on this thing. But before we get into the review, let's do a quick wrist check. Got the San Martin SN006G. This is their vintage sub-homage. No date, PT5000, all that fun stuff. I did a full review of this watch a while back. I'll leave the link for that up here. All right, so let's start out with the dimensions. So this case, for the most part, is unchanged. So it is 37 millimeters in diameter, getting 11.1 millimeters thick, 45.7 millimeters lug tip to lug tip. And then the only dimension that changes is the lug width, and they've dropped it down to a 19 millimeter lug width. Bracelet tapers down to 16 millimeters, just like before. So they didn't change a whole lot with this version. The only thing that they really changed, they did change the crystal, which we'll talk about just in a second, but the only dimension that really changed was the lug width. And here you can see it against version 2 with the 20 millimeter lugs. You can see there the lugs are now a little bit chunkier, but it's a pretty subtle difference. Same thing with the bezel. The bezel changed just a little bit. But again, I do think that it's actually more proportionate. You know, the strap width on this one did seem a little bit wide. It does seem like a little bit more of a cohesive design now with this latest version, but you have the negative of odd lug sizes, and I really don't like that. But luckily, this bracelet is pretty darn good, which we will talk about in a little bit. So, as you can see here, case profile, it's exactly the same as before. This thing wears great. I didn't expect it to wear any differently than the other version, and it doesn't. But I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on the wrist for you anyway. Here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and you can see, I mean, it wears just like the old one. Yeah, it feels really good on wrist. Pretty balanced still, even though it's got a slightly smaller bracelet and a little bit lighter. But yeah, I think it looks really good. You got lots and lots of reflections off of the dial and the crystal, but still, obviously, plenty legible. Good AR coating, I think. And yeah, I think it looks really good. You can see the down the wrist shot here. It's pretty flat, but it's a pretty short lug to lug, so it should wear really well on a lot of wrists. You can see the distortion on that crystal looks really good. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So here we are out in some direct sunlight, and you can see the glossy dial does give a little bit of an issue to readability in direct sunlight, as you can see here. For the most part, though, it's still very legible, and I think just the color combo, it looks really, really good. I am going to go inside, try and find some 19 millimeter straps, and try and get this on something. I don't have much, though, so And here we are on a dark brown leather strap. Got the San Martin buckle. This is one lifted off one of my other watches, but yeah, I was able to squeeze it into the 19mm lugs. Still looks a little weird to me, but it gives you an idea of a brown leather strap on this thing. I think it looks pretty good with that green dial. What do you guys think? And here we are on a kind of Tudor-esque, woven strap, single layer underneath. As you can see, still wears really good. This one actually looks pretty darn nice, I think. Looks really good. I love the color combos on it. And I'm going to try and see if I can get one of these in 19mm. 20mm doesn't look bad, though. What do you guys think? This is probably my favorite combo. Lastly, here we are on my one and only 19mm strap, and this is a cheapest Nato straps, ribbed Nato. I actually got sent this one by mistake. It's a dark gray, almost got a little bit of tinge of blue to it, but I think it actually looks all right on this. What do you guys think? It's 2 layers under the watch, and still, this thing is so thin that it doesn't really matter. It's very comfortable, and I think it looks pretty good. Let's go back inside, though, get back to this review. So let's get close and talk about the case finishing. So again, pretty much unchanged from the previous version. You have a circular brushing or an angular brushing on the tops of the lugs here. You have polished sides, really nice polishing, very smooth polishing. Doesn't really show up too well here just because I've kind of mucked it up with fingerprints and already knocked it a few times and got a couple scratches in it. But the polishing on these things is excellent. Transitions from the brush to the polish, just super sharp. Just really, really nicely done. The bezel itself, again, this one's fully polished, and the polishing is just really, really good. I see no issues with the polishing at all. The case back on this, again, unchanged from the previous ones, kind of got that Rolex style case back, which I don't like. It is fully sterile, as you can see here. No branding, nothing on it. Bottom of the case back is circular brushed. Everything down here, it's feels maybe a little bit sharp, but it's not something that bothers me while it's on wrist. So overall, though, I am very impressed with the case finishing on this thing, just like I was with version 1. Excellent case finishing. So let's talk about the crystal on this. So I did test it. It is positive for sapphire. Really nice double dome sapphire crystal. You can see really, really nice. No distortion in the middle of the dial. Plenty of distortion on the edges there. They actually changed this crystal from version 2 that I have, and I'll bring that in just a second. But the crystal on it's really nice. Lots of AR coating. There is a little bit of a blue tinge to it, but I think they did tone that down a little bit. So here is the version 2, and you can see right on the edge there's a lot of AR and the blue AR. Maybe it's just the dial color that shows it, but yeah, I think there's at least less blue AR on this one than there is on this one. But either way, they're both really good crystals. And here you can see the difference in them. So on the left here, you got a really nice smooth transition from the side of the crystal here to the top of the crystal. Really nice and smooth and rounded. On this version, there's actually like a sharp corner. Yeah, it's something I mentioned in the other review. Something I didn't really notice in pictures, but it is there. It's a very subtle difference, but there is a difference there. You can see the difference right on the edge of the crystal. You get more distortion on the new model than you do the old one. I definitely prefer the crystal on this new model. The old one wasn't bad at all, but this one I do prefer. So let's talk about the dial on this thing. It's really the star of the show. So they went to the printed logo, which I actually really like. I know some people don't like that, but I think the other logo, when it caught the light wrong, it looked pretty bad. When it catches the light right, it looks good. And it was like 50-50 on that watch. So this one, it just gets rid of that. I think the printing looks fine. It's nothing fancy, obviously, but I definitely think it never looks bad. So that's what I like about it. You have the gilt-colored minute track all the way around. Printing down here, automatic 100 meters, also in gilt. And I think it just looks really, really good. Yeah, the gold accents they just pop. And against this green, I think they look really, really good. Very happy with it. The handset on this thing, perfectly sized. You see that second hand reaching right out to the minute track. Same with the minute hand. I mean, getting real close. I mean, there's not much in the way of flaws in this thing. So even under macro, it looks excellent. The dial itself, it's a green glossy dial. It doesn't have any sunburst. It doesn't have any, flake or sparkle to it at all. It's a really cool green color. And I think it just looks great with these gold accents. It looks really, really good. And like always with San Martin, everything here, it's applied just spot on. I don't see anything that's crooked or out of place or anything like that. I'm really, really happy with it. The Lume color during the daytime matches perfectly. It is filled with BGW9 Lume. I'm going to pop up a Lume shot right now. Definitely improved the Lume on this one versus the 369 Explorer. As you can see, the Lume on this is just excellent. Very, very strong, evenly applied, long-lasting, and very impressive. I'm overall really, really happy with the Lume on this watch. So let's talk about the movement in this. So the movement is the PT5000. It's an ETA clone. I think we kind of all know it by now. 28,800 beats per hour. It hand winds about 40 hours of power reserve. This one is running 2 seconds fast a day. Very accurate for me. I've got no issues with it. The time setting position, as you can see, it works just as you would expect it to work. The only negative I can say is that there is a ghost date position on the crown. It's something you just kind of have to live with. I'm hoping one day they will find a no date version of this type of movement, but for now, it's what we got to live with, and to me, it's not a big deal. The crown on this thing, really nice signed crown here. It's got that San Martin Hex logo. I think they did clean that up also a little bit. It's nice and smooth now. The crown itself, real tiny. It does give me a little bit of problems just because I got some fat fingers, but otherwise, I think it's pretty good. Nice smooth winding in and out. You get some resistance to the crown, but that's just because it's still winding the movement while you're screwing it in. But otherwise, I think the movement in this thing, I'm happy with. This is, oh gosh, I don't know, probably my 5th or 6th PT5000 movement. I haven't had an issue with any of them, and they've all been running pretty much dead on, like plus 2 seconds a day, minus 1 second a day, something like that. So they're very accurate, and they've been really good for me. Let's talk about the bracelet on this. So the bracelet, again, 19 millimeters, which is, it's good and it's bad. I think it balances out the look of the watch when it is on the bracelet. Bad because you got to deal with 19 millimeter lugs, and it's just a pain. I don't like it. I wish they would have stuck with 20 millimeters, but I see why they did 19 millimeters, and they're really lucky that the bracelet is good because I really don't want to take this off the bracelet. So you have female pivot end links here. As you can see, they are solid end links, solid links, screw pins for adjusting. I had no problems adjusting. You've got your San Martin fold over clasp, fully milled here. Really nice double pushers. You've got the San Martin Hex on the outside, nicely brushed here. You've got really nice polished accents. Everything is smooth. Everything is low profile. Everything works just as you would need it to work. I've had no problems with this clasp on, I think, 4 or 5 watches now. You got 4 micro adjusts here. There's no diver's extension or anything like that, but that just makes the clasp simple and quiet, and just works great. I've got no problems with this clasp. I really, really like it. Everything else has been honed nicely. You can see the brush surfaces here. Really, really nice linear brushing. I mean, it's just, yeah, I mean, it's great. You got polish on the sides here. All the bottom edges, they're maybe just a tad bit sharp, but overall, they're really not that bad. It's never been a comfort issue for me. So yeah, I'm happy with the bracelet as I was with the original, version 2 that I had. And any other watch that's come on this bracelet that I've had has been excellent. This SN21 or SN006, sorry, that has pretty much the same bracelet, and I've been happy with that one too. So yeah, I think if they keep sticking to this bracelet, we're all going to be pretty happy with it. So there you go, guys. That is the version 4 of the SN021G. This is the latest version. I think they said that they aren't going to make any more changes to the case on this thing. I'm hoping they kind of reconsider that 20 millimeters. Part of me likes it, part of me doesn't like it. But I'll let you guys decide. If you are a bracelet fan, it's not going to make any difference to you, and I think you should go out and get it because it's a really good bracelet and a really good watch overall. So if you are interested in purchasing this, I'll be leaving an affiliate link down below. Thank you to anybody who's ever used one of my affiliate links, anyone who's watched a video, subscribed, liked, commented, anything. It all helps the channel, and all lets St. Martin know that I'm here to review their watches, and they've been kind enough to give me some pretty good discounts on watches. And yeah, I'm hopefully going to get some more of their watches in for review. I do have one other one coming in pretty soon, and I'm really happy to share that one with you guys. So stay tuned for that. If you want to see this, go check out my Instagram account. I'll leave that link down below. If you guys have any questions or comments, please drop them down there, and I will do my best to get back to you guys. I'm really curious what your thoughts are on this piece. I think that's about it, though. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.